I wanted to express my thoughts on the Atlanta State Park in Northeast Texas. It's just outside of the town of Atlanta. I'm assuming that's where it got its name. The park itself is an absolutely beautiful wooded area on a ridge. Actually, that's the campsite that I'm on, is on a ridge line, and it just runs up to a cul-de-sac and swings back around. So basically, it tips the ridge. Tall pine trees all around. No evidence of any fire damage here in recent past, if nothing else. This again is an absolutely beautiful area. It's a good spot to land if I'm in and around Northeast Texas, Texarkana, Arkansas, Louisiana. Met a guy this morning. He actually came up to the campsite. I'm glad Alex came over and introduced himself. He's a young man with his looks like his wife, and they have a dog, George. Hadn't met his wife, but just a good kid. He was very polite, and he and I discussed, or actually talked about my channel, because I was getting set up and editing and things like that. So it seemed odd to be at a nice park like this on a day like this and break out a computer and start working. But it is one of those things that we do. We're going to be moving on to a campsite in eastern Arkansas, just south of Memphis, or northeastern Arkansas, south of Memphis, Tennessee. And then I'm going to swing through Tennessee on out to Atlanta, the actual Atlanta, Georgia, if you will. An episode where Dave makes beer, pretty much through the process, at least most of it, and with good A-roll footage and audio, and lots of camera angles.
You mad because you didn't get a third bowl of food today? Doobie doo.
Sanitizer, which I am frugal with because it's not inexpensive.
Yep.
So I don't just slop it around. I'll pour it from one vessel to the next, and sanitize all my little bits and pieces right inside that, so that I don't have to fill the sink with it. Probably should have put a little water in there first. I want my hands all in it anyway. Still primitive on measuring. I just use this gallon.
By the gallon, yeah.
Simple. Then when this is all done, I have to do this with my bottles and caps too.
All
that's
this stuff,
yeah, pretty much everything that comes in contact, I try to sanitize. And I'll actually pour some of this, or all of this, into something else after I think I'm done, because I always am like that one last piece of equipment that I forgot.
Right.
Measure out a couple things real quick. Some ice holes and some.
We'll talk a little bit about the actual type of beer you're making.
So what I'm making is an oatmeal stout. It's a clone recipe for Samuel Smith's oatmeal stout. It's kind of funny because this, I generally like to make something with a higher ABV. This is under 5, and I usually hit 5 or above, but the flavors in this recipe are really good. It's just got a lot of different ingredients, the chocolate and the oats, and
it's sweeter
it
than most.
really works together.
Is it sweeter than
it's
most?
real stout, but yeah, it's real easy to drink. It's good. It's real good. I like it a lot.
Well,
And it's pretty
it's
easy.
real
It's
stout, and it's what Marty
inexpensive.
likes too, right?
Yes. In fact, I told you that we kind of tried some of the Samuel Smith beers and liked it, so we started sampling here and
Right.
there, and that's when we tried this. So when I found the clone recipe,
Where'd you
we
find
were,
that
like,
book?
all over it. Well, I bought mine like on eBay or something.
Okay.
They sell it like where I buy my brew supplies.
Okay.
Places like that.
Okay.
Go ahead and do this real quick.
So
it's
you've
out
got
of
to
the way.
measure specific weight.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything's weight. These guys have no flavor. The rice hulls don't really do anything at all for the flavor, but with these really sticky grains, it helps to keep it from sticking together.
Okay.
And I like to use it pretty much every time I'm going to need a bigger thing for this. 1/4 pound of weight. I'm going 4 ounces. That's just 1 ounce. Stuff's lightweight. Oh yeah, I was saying I like to use it every time because the way that my filter works in my mash tun, it gets sticky. It just is kind of doesn't have a very good flow, and I need to come up with something better.
So you said this is rice hulls?
Rice hulls, yes.
Yes. Okay.
4 ounces.
Yeah, that is light.
Yeah, that's crazy, right? It's really got a lot of bulk. There we go. That's 4. So pretty much every time that I do a mash, I throw a big handful or 2 in because it helps. Like that corn gets kind of sticky and goopy when I do corn mash, and so it just helps. It just makes it easier. Yeah, I want to put my ingredients so I didn't forget because, like I said last time, I forgot the oats. And it really, oatmeal stout should have a little oatmeal in it.
Yeah. That would be in my opinion.
It was drinkable, but it wasn't good like this recipe when it's done right. Okay, now I'm preheated and ready to toast. So no wonder I didn't get my desired gravity last time I did this when I forgot the oats. I mean, that's a pretty good bit of grains right there.
It is.
Left out of the thing.
Yeah.
It was a fail.
Yeah, you said you recovered it.
It ended up being drinkable, but yeah, it definitely didn't have the right flavors because I also mentioned I didn't have enough bittering hops, so it didn't quite have the bitterness. It was just mostly sweet. You're starting to get there. I'd probably go a little more golden. Here, and take it a little cold. Golden. More of that toasty flavor. So this is my mash tun. I made this obviously out of an igloo cooler. Put on some, I'll keep it covered because I don't want dust on any of my fixtures.
Yeah. Wow. You just attached that. You took the old one off and screwed it in, or did
yeah, I think it had something there. Yeah, it had a spout, and I just took it out and installed this guy. It's got a little nipple on the inside that I attached the filter, which is really the metal reinforcement on a piece of plumbing, basically a hose. It is not the best thing, but it totally works. I mean, I've been using it for years, and I haven't found anything better. They all want to get clogged up because all the grains, here we go, all the grains just want to stick to it. So I can work with it, but because it's flexible, I just kind of jiggle it around and it helps to clear it. And I kind of open and close the little gaps, and it moves through. It works. It works. Get this attached, and I'll sanitize it, and then. So the mash tun is where I'll mix my grains with what's called the strike water, set to a particular temperature. That sits for a specified time, an hour and a half usually is right, and it is in this case. And that allows all the sugars to be worked out of the grains. what our yeast will turn into alcohol. I use a mash and sparge calculator online.
Yeah.
And it lets me put in some variables, how much beer I expect to end up with, what my grain bill is and weight.
Right.
And it'll tell me how to get there basically, how much water to add at what temperature during certain phases. So yeah, it's pretty easy, that one. So my mash water, need just about 3.5 gallons, and it needs to be at about 165 degrees. So yeah, that's hotter than I want it, but it'll be okay, because this, what I got there is just, I'm just gonna put it in here and put the lid on and let it heat the mash tun up.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'll start boiling, or heating up my my actual strike water. Then I'll drain this out, put the strike water in, and we'll mix the grains in. We go. So let me check this. I think I'm gonna bring this in and put it in. Oh no, I gotta sanitize first. Let me just do that. Check it. I'm trying to forget that, and that is not
Integral. It's an important part.
It's super. It really is. I mean, maybe you get away with it, but I wouldn't try, because I would hate to go to bottle my beer and find that it had a big floating blob of mold or something on top of it. You know,
doesn't that make it a kombucha then?
What?
Doesn't that make it a kombucha?
All right, here, I'm going to drain back into this guy for a minute. I need this too. I gotta hurry up and watch my other thing. So see this, my hose just clips into that fitting that I put on there. And fitting on a food grade silicone or something, I forget what it is. It's made to take the heat.
Yes, okay.
Because when I drain it out of here, it's still going to be pretty hot. It should be. If the mash goes right, it should still be around 165 degrees. My last couple of times, the heat has really maintained well, so I'm hoping for that today, even though it's really cool. It's farting. Here, I'll pour the rest out. I wanted to run some through the hose. Even, I did put it in the sink, but that's a little bit better for me. That's what I usually do. Good. And now, wrap my mash tun.
So you
Even better, hold the heat. I got the insulated cooler.
Yeah.
Then I basically set that thing in the middle of this, and then I can get my grain stirred in there. And here's gotta do a bucket. Mash works. Mash the sugars out. What's up, buddy? Then I literally fold this thing around it.
What was the temperature at? Above 165?
It was about 170.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I pulled it out then, but it was really slow. It was barely moving. It might be slightly higher, but it wasn't much. Good.
That'll do it.
It's not a lot.
Now's where we pour.
So let's make sure it should be. Make sure I'm not beefing up on this temp. If it's at 170 or below, we'll go ahead and throw it in. See, I still lost a little heat doing that transfer. That's not good, because I think I'm going to end up below my desired temp now. Actually, it said to strike. Never mind. It said to strike at 165. So that's right. Let's just put it in there. It probably. Target mash temp is 152. We're good. So we're actually where it wants us to have it. So we're all right. And just kind of slowly, so I can make sure it doesn't clump. It smells good already. I love the smell. Looks like chocolate malt oatmeal or something.
Yeah, it is good.
That's it. Just want to make sure it doesn't clump, so everything gets up to temperature. The sugar cooks out. Keep the yeast busy for the next few weeks. Yeah, it's good. It's not clumping at all. It feels good. A lot of grain in that little bit of water.
Yeah, it is.
Good, thanks.
Good.
Now it just sits. Sparge water a few minutes ago, it helped to loosen it up probably. It's supposed to, but it doesn't always.
Right. And you have to ladle basically all of that through?
Well, I'll pour it in a minute.
Oh.
Once it gets a little easier to handle.
So you're not worried about temperature now like you were earlier?
Not so much. It won't go up that high.
Yeah.
And plus, this isn't, that was 200 degrees,
Mm-hmm.
and this is not. This is 175, so it can tolerate that. Good flow. I'm usually having to work with it already. This is wort. What's coming out here is called wort, W-O-R-T. So this is what I don't like about it, but I just don't know. If I got a rigid filter of some type down there, I'm afraid it would clog up, and then I'd be trying to use my spoon or something to clear the stuff. At least this I can get a hold of and wiggle around and work with.
Yeah.
So I'm literally just holding onto that filter I showed you, that little metal screen thing, and just wiggle it around like I told you. Basically, I think it just kind of helps push the fluid through.
Yeah.
Creates a gap when I move it around.
Oh, there you go. That's cool.
Not much, but yeah. I'm still surprised at how I messed it up. I had a good flow, and then I messed with it, and I should have left it alone, apparently. I've got all the ingredients. It smells pretty good, I think.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying. I like this combination of grains. It really does have a nice flavor. That chocolate malt is so good. Did a good job of maintaining the heat today, considering the cool weather. That's a good thing. That made a difference. Man, when I lose the heat, it comes up so bad. This one's going to be so much easier than some of my other brews because I don't have set timers for putting in the different hops at different times. I got to put in hops. As soon as I start to get to my good boil, I'll put in my hops, and then in an hour I'll put in Whirl Flock. It helps to bring clarity to the beer, and it's just a little tablet. I put about half of it into the whole pot, and it makes a difference. I've forgotten it, couldn't quite tell the difference, but they say it does make a difference. So, and I've always used it. It's cheap. It lasts. I've bought one package and I had it for years, so it's not that big of a deal. Doesn't hurt to toss it in.
As you said, at this point, it's basically just rinsing it.
That's all this process is doing, is just trying to make sure that all those sticky sugars are coming out.
Yep.
I'll cut this off in a minute. I may not even drain it all, because it'll get so full it's harder to manage.
Yes.
And it's more than I need already. But well, more than I need is not really the right way to say it. It's more than is expected, but yeah, more beer than you need, that's not a thing. 6 3/4 gallons, okay, let's cut that off. I still say it can't be too much. I mean, once in a while I make, instead of just the 2 cases, I'll make 2 cases and a 6-pack or whatever, and I'm happy with that. I won't complain, as long as I hit my ABV.
Yeah.
That's the main thing, as long as everything comes out good, the flavor's right. It's never tasted watered down.
Yeah.
I mean, you can see it's not watered down at all. It's got a lot of good flavor cooking into it. Really.
Absolutely.
And used to
not
be
reacting so much now.
These are pellets. This is basically concentrated. Used to be it would actually be the hops, like or did it get ground up, or how did it get?
No, this is the only way I've ever seen them in
Yeah.
the time I've been doing this. But that doesn't mean that's the way it's always been, of course. Well, I didn't have any trouble that time. It's probably because I turned it down too much. I need to have a little more heat on it than that. Need to keep that rolling boil going, kind of like that.
Yeah.
Good. Well, that was easy then. And sometimes I really have trouble.
That's all the hops that goes in there.
That's it.
That's it.
It's the bittering hop. That's all this one has. No flavor hop, no aroma hop, which is different, because I think most of my recipes have all 3, but this is a different beer. By all means. All right, cool.
And then how long does this cook?
90.
90 minutes.
I gotta set a timer for 60 because I want to put that whirl flock is what it's called. Whirl flock. Do I have the boil? Pretty much, I think, kinda. Yeah, I don't want to go too much crazier than that or it'll foam up again.
Yep.
I'll keep an eye on it, make sure it's where it should be, but that was good. Oh yeah, it's coming down. We are
What is it now?
currently, it's actually going down. It's like we're around 112.
Oh wow.
Good.
Sweet.
So when it gets to 70 degrees, we'll pitch the yeast, stir it around in there real good, and put the lid on top of our container with the airlock valve that bubbles. It's a little bubbler that lets the air out but won't let
Anything else?
funkiness get inside. It's perfect. They work really well. It'll sit in there for 1 week. And then I'll use my siphon. I don't have it, it was here a minute ago. Siphon into the 5-gallon carboy. Just the bulk water.
Yeah,
bottles.
it's glass.
They may still do that. Yeah,
Yeah, it's nice. It's heavy. I saw it.
I took it back down.
I took a picture of it earlier.
Yeah, okay,
Pretty
cool. So yeah, and then it goes into that with an airlock, just the same thing. It fits right in the top of the bottle. It's perfect, yeah. And it will sit for 2 weeks in that. And that's kind of a time of settling. Like I told you, when I siphon, I do my best not to get the sediment.
Right.
And then again, the sediment settles and I'll have a little layer on that bottom.
Right.
And it will clear up a lot at that time.
Nice.
After that, I'll siphon it once more into a bottling bucket and add some dried malt extract, so carbonate.
Oh, okay.
And put it into bottles. I use the hose and the wand.
And what kind of bottles do you use? Bottles like this?
Yeah, I just use those regular bottles. I just have a bunch of like Samuel Adams bottles.
Right.
So I just have 5 or 6 cases.
And when
of
you
bottles.
said that you can cap them, you actually have something that seals that cap.
Yeah, I buy the new caps and then I have a capper. It just it's got a magnet that holds the cap and just put it in place and kind of pull it and it just crimps it right on there. Yeah, it's real cool. They make real nice, ones that you can mount to your work space or something like that. They're a little more heavy duty and it would sure be a lot easier, but I just don't have the space.
And you store the beer in like the pantry downstairs, right?
So during this time of the year, I don't until it's carbonated.
Okay.
And same with the buckets I keep in my office. I told you it's probably the warmest room in the house, so I keep it in there because I need the heat at this time of the year.
Okay.
It's too hot in there in the summer and spring, so then I do put it down.
So it has to stay at a certain temperature. It's not refrigerated or anything. It has to stay at a
like
warm
high 60s for its best.
Still
too
sealed,
hot, it
but
affects the flavor. Too cold, and it won't ferment. The yeast will die.
Got it. All right.
Actually, you can get too hot for the yeast too.
You can, but that's too much.
That
Way
would take
too.
a lot.
That's like now. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's
So
cool.
and it's pretty much as simple as that. But it's a 5-week process. That's the one thing that it throws me off. I don't brew often enough to keep beer in the pipeline.
Well, definitely can't wait to try a bottle.
Yep, I will have some of this the next time you come. I'll make sure I save some.
Okay, right.
And I'll make some others too in the meantime.
Yeah.
Then we can sample a few different things that I like. That wheat beer that I make is pretty good. Like I said, I like it pretty sauce made. Like orange peel and
I can definitely see what Marty's talking about as far as the mess that can be had with making this in the kitchen.
yes.
And
yeah,
then
the burner is great. She bought that for me for like a birthday.
at
Just
least
to get it out of the kitchen.
Well,
But I love it. It's been a great gift because it really makes a difference.
full.
Just do it here so I don't make a big mess. Whatever. It's so dark, it's hard to read through. Looks like it's about 1.046. I don't think I hit my target quite again. My target. 1.050. That's pretty close.
Yeah, 4650 is only 400.
Pretty close. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to add any sugar to it this time. I think it'll be fine. I've only had to do that one time. That's close, but I'll have to write it down. If I don't hit the actual target, then I write it down.
Yeah, 1 point.
Keep track of it so I know. So I can calculate my ABV to make sure I made the right progress. Cool, man. One more check on that stamp just to make sure we didn't do somewhere. I don't believe we did. It really went way down, didn't it? Now it's going up. What?
It could have been because of the way you were putting it down by the bottom corner.
It might have been.
At the bottom corner, which would have been closer to the ice.
Yep. Now it's 95. Oh brother.
Oh brother, wherefore art thou? Look at all this ice sitting over here.
Right. Crap. That sucks. That's what it did for. Girl, what are you doing? What are you doing? Come here, you want to ride? Come on. Spoil.
Dave, I can't tell you how appreciative I am that you and Marty not only gave me the hospitality of opening your home, but also given me some valuable insight on a hobby of yours that I would consider probably one of the best DIY projects ever. I just want to let you guys know how much I appreciate you, how much I love you, and I wish you all the best, always.
Jumping from cliffs so high, trusting our wings to fly. Sometimes we're crashing down, but we get up and start from the ground. And I really wanna know, if I will ever figure out where the road goes. Even if I'm falling down, I will keep on searching for my highs. You can say I lost my mind, I will keep on holding my head high. Even if the sky is falling down, even if the sky is falling down, yeah. The sky is falling down.
All the best, always.
Wanna come down to the underground old school? Here's a shovel, can you dig it, fool?